Hey kiddos, we're going to talk about fan games today. All right? Here's the deal. If you're making a fan game, you might be sent a cease and desist order by the IP holders of the property. Or you may be allowed to make said fan game in peace as long as you do not monetize it. And if the particular IP holder has informally said that as long as you don't monetize it, you're fine, we'll look the other way, then don't monetize it. It's really that simple. There's not any point on arguing about whether or not you should be able to monetize because it's kind of pointless. Let me paint you an illustration using a bear. And I'm going to use a bear not because I want to paint any particular company as mean or ruthless, but because I want to paint them as more powerful than us. Because a bear, compared to a human, is physically way more powerful, bigger, and stronger, and can eat you easily. Let's say there was a mama bear, and she's got herself a cave. And she's got her cute little cubbies. And for some reason, we don't really know why, not all bears do this, but this bear says, hey, humans can come in and play with my cubs in the cave as long as they pose no threat to my little cubbies. That means no sticks. Don't bring in a stick and try to poke any bears. As long as you ain't poking no bears, mama bear sleep just soundly. So it goes on for years, and it's fine, and it's great. But then somebody comes along and thinks that they are ambitious and smart enough and great enough or whatever to come in there with a stick. But they're like, I'm not going to poke any of the bears with a stick. I'm just going to keep the stick just at my shirt pocket, just right here. And I'm not going to actually poke any of the bears. Mama bear don't care what your intentions are. Mama bear sees the stick and says, oh, so that's how it's going to be, huh? I'm going to eat you. And that's the end of that. And maybe the next guy comes in and goes, all right, well, I won't bring the stick into the cave, but I'll leave the stick just right outside the cave, just like on the edge of it, between the forest and the cave. And that way, I'm still going to play with the cubs, but the stick's just there, just off, just in my peripheral vision, so I can still keep an eye on it. Well, you know who else can see the stick? Mama bear. Mama bear going to see that stick and say, oh, so that's how it's going to be, huh? I'm going to eat you. So if it's not clear already, the stick is monetization, the cubs are the IP, and mama bear's the IP holder. Don't try to be clever. Don't be like, well, I'm not actually monetizing my fan game, but I have a, Patreon that supports me, but not the fan game directly. It's like, no. Well, I'm going to put the game behind as a bonus in my Patreon, but it's not developing the game, for any sort of monetary. It's like, no sticks in the cave, outside the cave, no sticks within 5 miles of the cave, no sticks anywhere mama bear can see, smell, or taste. No sticks anywhere. Unless, of course, you want to get eaten. And I know some people are like, well, that's not right or fair. What about fan artists who get to do commissions of everybody's favorite video game character, and there's no big deal, and they'll get paid for it, or people that sell merch with copyrighted characters on them at comic conventions, all right? It's not right or fair. And I'm like, what are you, a Greek philosopher? What do you mean what's right or fair? If the mama bear's got your torso halfway through her jaws and is chomping you in half, do you think it's going to be doing any good to be like, Mr. Grizzly, this is just not morally correct. How dare you? It's like, Mama Bear doesn't need to care what you think is right or wrong or just. Mama Bear just needs to feel threatened for the sake of her cubs. That's it. It doesn't matter what's right and fair. And you can't negotiate because you don't have the power. You don't speak the bear's language. Okay? And to make it very clear, don't interpret this as some sort of I'm pro-corporation and anti-consumer or anything like that. I'm coming at this from a complete perspective of moral neutrality. I don't care what's right or fair or just in this particular situation, which is a weird thing to say, because normally you should care what's right. It's good to have a sense of justice, but save it for things that you can be effectual at, like It doesn't matter in this scenario because, again, all that matters is whether or not Mama Bear is threatened. And you don't have the time or the resources to be able to fight that. If you're like, well, the laws need to change. Good luck trying to change them. You don't have the money to perform the legalities necessary to change that. I know that you don't have that because you're making fan games. This is how much money I have made off fan games, and that's the way it should be. Because, again, you don't have the say. If you are allowed to make fan games by the IP holder, then it's exactly that. You are allowed to do that. It is not a right. It's not in the Constitution that man has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of fan games. It's a privilege. You do that because the merciful IP holders have allowed you to do that. And I say that not from a perspective of it's right or wrong. I don't care. I don't care if that this is the way it should be or the way it shouldn't be. I'm simply looking at the way that it is. And I'm looking at it and saying, well, if this is the way it is, then this is how I need to practically apply that. So again, I say, if you're making a fan game, do not monetize it. You big silly. Don't have arguments about whether or not you should be allowed to monetize it. You big silly. You do not own the IP. I do not own the IP for any video game franchise that's been established at this point in time. And, if you're so smart and talented, why are you making fan games? Why don't you make your own original game? Ouch. Okay, that was painfully ironic. That really hurt. Okay, bottom line, just don't monetize your fan games. Stop it. Please. I want to play with the bears in peace. I like the cubs. They're cute. They're cuddly. They're fun. Please leave your sticks out of this.